Obviously, I would like to start by introducing our two speakers of the day. So we got Brendan, who was the CEO of Brave, and we got Alex, who was the CEO of Aurora Labs. Please, Brendan, can you introduce yourself and your project?
Yes, I'm Brendan Eich, CEO, co-founder of Brave. Brave is a browser that puts users first, which means privacy by default. It also means, in the modern world we live in, it means embracing crypto for direct transmission of not only what you might call money, but also fan creator support, intent, smart contract calls, anything that helps the user come first in the web instead of being sort of a sheep on the farm Google runs and shorn of your wool every spring.
And my name is Alex. I'm a happy user of Brave browser and also the CEO of Aurora Labs, the company that is developing the Aurora protocol, the Ethereum scalability protocol that is running on top of highly scalable Near blockchain.
I got to tell that every Friday Aurora is hosting live streams, and Alex has been using Brave to show his screen for almost 1 year. So you got a real user here, and
much appreciated.
I would like to start with a question to Brendan. What does Brave do differently from other browsers and Web3 wallets as well for the wallet part?
Sure. So when you think about a browser, the big browsers are all either directly owned by a big tech company that's dependent on search ads for a lot of its revenue, or almost all its revenue in the case of Google, or they have some, like Apple, they have some very good hardware business and they need a browser to avoid losing the relationship to the user at the software level. So they have hardware, but they need software to keep Google from taking over the user relationship. If you look at the crypto wallets, a lot of them are sprouting web views or have had web views for dealing with Web3 sites where you can go to, start doing, smart contract operations. They help you like format a message and pre-sign it and so on. And you use a hardware wallet to sign and confirm. That's a very low-level approach. Those wallet apps, in my opinion, will never be good browsers. A browser is an old thing now, but it's an immortal category. It has to be full of features to be competitive. You can't just skip some or do a little tab in a Coinbase app and have that be a browser. You will not keep the user engaged in using that app for long. They will go back to a big browser to do most of their digital life online. And we see this, the bigger the screen and the presence of a keyboard, the more the browser is used. Google's search ad business is better on so-called desktop, which really means laptop, than on mobile. But mobile matters too. And mobile, you find for apps, including native apps that act like browsers and often have little web views in them. But the more you work on the browser, the more you can serve the user and pull them out of these apps. And we've been showing this lately on Twitter, where we talk about how instead of running social apps in their native form on your mobile phone, where they actually trap your data and sometimes collude with what I think are illegal in the US law enforcement data gathering operations, you can run the M site for Twitter or the Facebook mobile site in Brave in an instance that protects you from tracking at a deep level. And we're also working in our VPN product and possibly beyond to block tracking at the network level in all apps. So there's something wrong with the way the web evolved. It became this sort of hostile environment for users where they were treated just like data subjects, like I mentioned, like sheep to have their wool trimmed. And Brave stands against this. We make a combination of browser and wallet. We also have a search engine that's unique, I think. DuckDuckGo has finally desktop browsers, but they're not going to get into crypto. So I don't see a wallet in the near term on their roadmap. I think if you go forward 10 years, you might, assuming we succeed or somebody else picks up the torch, see wallets in all browsers, crypto wallets that have, virtualized MasterCard and other affordances, wallets that have decentralized identity cards in them. So you think of the wallet in your pocket that has ID card and credit cards and cash. We think there should be a wallet in the browser that has crypto, it has the keys, or it has a way to get keys securely without losing them from your hardware, and that gives you the ability to control your destiny and not be just one of these sheep that's very cold in the spring when its wool is taken. And that's a growing movement globally. So tying browser and search and wallet together is important to us, and it's something I think Brave is unique at. I don't see other browsers stepping up. I don't think Chrome will get around to this. Maybe they'll be the last to join the party with crypto. I see Mozilla, having being of two minds at best about crypto. There was a lot of, the usual ESG posturing around proof of work. That's fine, but I don't think they're embracing crypto now that proof of stake is on Ethereum. I just don't see it.
Thank you very much, Brendan. And yes, indeed, obviously the actors in Web2 have mixed reactions to all what's done in Web3 in general. Alex, I would like you to tell us what does Aurora do differently from other EVMs and chains in general, as a world company, I mean.
So kind of the overall idea is, I believe, pretty closely related to what Brendan was saying, but on the level of the protocol, on the level of the blockchain. So our goal is also to protect users and make sure that their user experience is better. Yes, Aurora is an EVM compatible chain. There are lots of these chains originated either through just copy paste in Ethereum code or through kind of similar measures. There are many of them are targeting or they're trying to solve the problem of the scalability of Ethereum, right? Bringing kind of more block space for all of these transactions that are originating. But for Aurora specifically, we do have one particular thing that is very different from anybody who is working in this market, and I believe this is something that would allow us to bridge the gap in between Web3 and the current market of Web2. And I'm talking about a kind of interesting technical concept, which is called meta transactions or the gasless transactions. And the idea behind it is that the user that is sending the transaction is actually not paying for the execution of this transaction. It is a third party that is paying for the execution of this transaction. We do have it on the protocol level. So any transaction that comes into Aurora is a meta transaction or gasless transaction by design, by the way how Aurora operates. And though this highly technical concept that might not be extremely easy to digest for many, it brings a very tangible outcomes out of it. And these tangible outcomes are just better user experience, right? The idea that the user, in order to get involved with Web3 and enjoy decentralization and privacy and the ability to control their own rights of making decisions about their voting rights, about their kind of financial decisions. So these things are extremely complicated in Web3 because of the fact that the technology is new. But what if we can decrease the burden of Web3 for ordinary people? What if people do not need to buy crypto in order to transact on the blockchain? What if you can have a wallet, for example, in Brave browser, and you don't need to do KYC in order to buy the crypto, then move it to the proper network, and then send your transactions, just to be able to transact on this blockchain, right? What if all of the steps can be omitted? What if you can look at your iPhone and actually send the transaction, and actually you do not need to? This is like an approval mechanism, right? That can be used, and this is pretty nominal for Web2 users at the moment, right? So this is our goal. This is what we are doing differently. We have the technical capabilities of implementing this, and many pieces of this more kind of better user experience solution is implemented in the product that is called Aurora Plus. So I encourage everyone who have not yet discovered it, go to aurora.plus and you will see all of the relevant information. So from my point of view, focus on the user experience, making sure that Web3 is much more accessible for Web2 users. This is something that makes the difference for us.
Thanks a lot, Alex and Brendan, for this very complete presentation, both of you. As our listeners may know, like 1 month and a half ago now, even close to 2 months, we announced the partnership between Brave and Aurora in the Brave wallet. You might also have seen a few ads in the Brave browser on that subject. So my next question will be about this partnership between Aurora and Brave, and what is the vision you have about this partnership? So Brendan, would you like to go ahead and speak about that?
Yes, we have the Aurora Rainbow Bridge already integrated. Brave Wallet is built into Brave. It's not an extension, so we can have better security, and we want Aurora to be in there for EVM bridging and EVM compatible operation scaling with NEAR. So we integrated the Rainbow Bridge already, and I'm actually talking to Ilya about, and our teams are talking about native NEAR integration as well. But I think Aurora is very important for the reason Alex said, that meta transactions take away the complexity and the pain of fees. To get crypto to 1 billion users, I think you're going to have to do things, very clever things, like they've done with Aurora Plus, to efface the fees and reduce the complexity, to reduce the sort of micro transaction operation and the mechanical overhead of using a crypto wallet today, to doing something more like what apps made easy on smartphones. So higher level operations where there aren't signing burdens and fees to worry about, and was my gas set high enough? I didn't put enough in. I'll have to retry the transaction with more gas. So we're very excited about Aurora as well as NEAR, and we already integrated the Rainbow Bridge. So I think now it's up to developers, including I think some of us at Brave, to build on this and to build that higher level of discourse that involves things like meta transactions and decentralized social that I've talked about as well.
Alex, would you like to speak about it?
That was an absolutely great overview. From the only thing that I would like to add here is that from my point of view, when great people, or like when you are able to work with greatest people in the space in general in IT, I would say it's not only in the browser space or in the crypto space, then you can learn from these people and make your products better. So for us, for Aurora Labs specifically, this is also an opportunity to learn from the best.
Thank you. By the way, can either one of you tell what is a meta transaction in simple words? Because I've been asked this one.
So the idea is simple. So when you're sending the transaction on the Ethereum network, you need to have a little bit of ETH in order to pay for the execution of this transaction, and that's complicated. Imagine if you can sign a message without having any cryptocurrency, pay through other means to some kind of relayer, right, or to the service to which you're sending this signed message, and then this service is able to actually attach ETH and form an Ethereum transaction and send it to the Ethereum blockchain and pay for the execution of this transaction. So this is what meta transaction is, right? Removing the necessity of specifically the user who is transacting to pay for the execution of the transaction.
Thank you very much, Alex. Always good to bring more clarity to everyone. So I would like to go to the next question, which I found interesting, because so many projects just like to speak about the long-term vision and mission. But what are your short-term objectives? And considering the partnership between Aurora and Brave is pretty fresh, I think it's also interesting to know what's to come, let's say, for the end of the year or early next year. on each project side. So, Brendan, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, I think it's interesting to consider NFTs as something like membership cards, which we would like to use for Brave Rewards, where we already have a large number of creators, not just website owners, but YouTubers and other channels. If you go to bravebat.info, you can explore the creators that have verified with us. We'd like to, mint NFTs inexpensively and make them be the basis for various kinds of direct fan to creator affordances that are already in Brave via BAT, but could be even more supercharged using NFTs and tokenomics around them. And so I'm looking closely at NEAR and Aurora in this context. I think it's important to have the EVM interoperation. BAT started as a native token on Ethereum. It is bridged to many blockchains now, for instance, through Wormhole to quite a number, but also through the Rainbow Bridge to NEAR. And this is important for utility. We want to make all crypto useful. We especially want to make the basic attention token useful. So we'll be working to build up its utility through Aurora and NEAR. And I also like the Aurora Plus idea of tokenomics based on staking that can share revenue to offset fees, like 50 free transactions a month, I believe. So these are all of great interest in the next year to us at Brave.
For Aurora, we are obviously doubling down on this Aurora Plus vision and making it even better. During the NEARCON, we have been launching like 4 additional features to Aurora Plus, and we're just continuing the development of Aurora Plus, making sure, like, the final goal here is that give an ability for an existing or a new application that is targeting Web 2 users to be able to integrate with the blockchain with literally zero burden, with no necessity of users going through the complicated process of installing third-party applications, doing KYC, acquiring crypto, and stuff like that. That's our main goal.
Thank you, Alex. The next questions I got is a bit more about the long-term thing, because one guy was asking, so Sarge P4 was asking, what's the most critical infrastructure Aurora or Brave is missing? That which, if implemented, will take it to the next level. So obviously big changes take time. So we could consider this like, what's the long shot here on each side? So Brendan, can you go ahead and maybe explain what's the, because you said about 1 year or two, but further.
You want a long? All right, here's a long shot. I've been talking about this for at least a year on Twitter. I think we have a problem with the big social tech companies. Big tech has big social, which I would say is Meta or Facebook and Twitter, and these look like they look partly like spy operations and psychological warfare platforms to me. They also tend to just have all sorts of censorship issues and abuse issues that they don't take care of. Elon Musk has really, I think, scored some solid hits talking about bots on Twitter. It's not credible that only 5% of accounts on Twitter are fake or bots. I've been on Twitter since 2007, and there's just a ton of fake accounts and bots. Could we do better? There's a long-term vision that will take some careful building to get to, because you can't just say, oh, here's my new Twitter, but everything's on the blockchain, and so maybe 50,000 people would use it. And as soon as something goes onto the immutable blockchain that you want to remove for legal or personal or any reasons, you can't remove it. So you have this problem with social that I think you need some kind of delegated operation that lets the users decide what they don't want to see without making either a big censorship honey trap out of the central platforms, or putting immutability in so you can't ever remove anything. People do want to remove things. People want to edit things. I wish I had an edit button on my tweets. So could we do something better that uses both a fast, scalable blockchain and IPFS, or maybe even personal clouds. We all have Dropboxes and iClouds. Could we intermediate and orchestrate this through the browser? This is what the browser was good at in the old days. It would disaggregate information. We started with Netscape pulling things together under the unity of interface of the blue link you click on to go to a resource, whether it's through FTP or HTTP. This kind of unity of interface is important because then you can not just access more information and cross boundaries that might become walled gardens walls. You can also, after disaggregating, you can reaggregate it to your taste. You can do mashups in the browser. You could do an overlay that puts Twitter together with some new, better, social network that might be like Social 8 on Near. I don't know. It's kind of young, but I'm watching it. And if you do this well, you could even unify your friends among different networks. Through your contacts, your private address book, we all have one. I happen to use Apple's. You could have maybe a different approach to unifying them, but I'm just going to pick the contacts list or the address book. And if you do this, you could even see friends, drop out of one network and appear on another, and you'd still have continuity of conversations and historic threads or archived exchanges. And you would have better user sovereignty. You'd have the ability to keep your data yourself. You could log your own posts to your own, iCloud. That's what I would do. They're small. They're smaller than the pictures I take all the time. You could stitch things together and publish to your friends. You could put things in IPFS. So this is a pretty ambitious vision. I'm trying to find partners for it because I think Brave alone shouldn't build it. And it also wants a rich, multi-layered, sort of self-sovereign identity system, because you don't want everybody signing into the global Twitter account system or Facebook account system. You want pseudonymity and personae and unlinkability when you need it. And then if you're building a public reputation of some sort, you can do that through your real name or through a pseudonym. So it's a big agenda, and I think it could really be important for the world for lots of reasons. It could also obviously be, I think, commercially important because if you do this right, users are happy. You have private channels to reach them if you're trying to market. So you have things like Brave's private ads, which do not collect data. We do not track. We do not target ads from a server. It's all matched on your device. So the combination of browser and blockchain should not just take on private ads as we've done with Brave. It should take on things like social, and that's one of the big ideas I'm interested in.
It's a great vision, Brendan. Can I loop in a question from my side here? So you've been on the NEARCON, and so there was a hackathon happening there, and I was judging this hackathon, and there were several projects that were kind of looking into similar things, right? Well, first of all, probably maybe you want to explore the connections with these people because they're thinking of the same, but some of them specifically were focusing on the ads. So one of the project was the idea behind it was that instead of viewing ads, which are the good for the website owner, because this is their revenue stream. Inside of doing this, you can just switch them off and do a small stream, continuous stream of money flow to the website creator. So this is one thing, and another project was around doing some AI based on the user behavior. In case we are identify the user through his wallet that he connected with the website, right? So we understand his crypto identity, and through analyzing his blockchain experience and analyzing what he's doing on the blockchain, obviously ads can be targeted. So, for example, for the NFT lover, you can show NFTs, and for the DeFi lover, you can show relevant information. So, do you think that this a little bit of a mix in between the Web 2 approaches and the Web 3 is something that we should go first before we're going to full decentralized identity and kind of completely not tracking anything? Or still you're believing that it's better to take the longer shot and not do this kind of semi steps?
So I'll be clear. I've been through this. I had to think a lot about it before starting Brave, and then in the first year of Brave, we tried to do a shortcut using a partner, Sonobi, which is a header bidder company. That's an ad tech term, and we tried to do it in a privacy respectful way, but we couldn't get scale against the big ad tech players, and we couldn't even get participation in the deals Sonobi was running for its clients. It had to do direct sales to ad buyers. So we had the scaling problem that if you are trying to swim in the current Web 2 surveillance capitalist, swamp, the swamp creatures that are of size will just squash you. They will not give you a fair price as an individual for whatever data stream or life log or event log you surrender to them, because they can get it lots of ways and you aren't that valuable by yourself. So you have a scaling cliff to climb that requires getting a lot of users at once. And once you have those users, especially if they're appreciating the speed, the battery savings, which is substantial, and the privacy benefits of Brave Shields, they're not going to want to just say, "Oh, I'll turn off my shields and suffer with ads and slowdowns from tracking." Even if you optimize those through better ad tech, there's still a performance hit and a battery hit, and there's this arbitrage problem, or this monopoly problem, I would say. So looking at what's happened in the last 8 years since starting Brave, it's almost 8 years, so over 7. It's really been difficult to try to start in the Web 2 world small and grow like David versus Goliath. It's been much better to go toward the Web 3 world. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to only appeal to crypto purists or idealists or maximalists. There's nothing wrong with those folks, but to get average users, you have to do, as you said, things like meta transactions. You have to efface the fee and operate at a higher level of discourse than low-level operations on smart contract systems or transmitting assets. So that discovery was a little bit painful for me because I had hoped to get a faster start with Brave, but it was also refreshing. I felt like we were living in the second age of discovery, and there's this whole new world out there, Web3, which is not understood or well defined, that we need to go and discover, and we need to not tie ourselves to the ancient regime of the old world, because that regime is hostile to us. So Google is a search monopoly, and they're in antitrust court in the U.S. at the federal and several state levels. But this will take a long time to grind toward justice of any kind. And I've been there before with Netscape and US v. Microsoft. Netscape was crushed and bought by AOL, long before there was any settlement. And Microsoft kind of got lucky and dodged being broken up. So I think you have to face the realpolitik of monopoly surveillance capitalism. I've heard people say, I can just sell my blockchain history and I won't have any problems. One of the problems you have, and this is certainly known to the chain analysis folks, is that you can be fingerprinted easily on the blockchain. And if you do this, you will not only potentially be in danger in certain parts of the world because you've been identified as some kind of dissident or critic, but you just won't have the economic leverage you need that Brave Shields gives you by default in Brave. So I think privacy, and I don't want to jump ahead to a question I see coming, I think privacy is pretty important to scaling up DeFi and DSOC and all the things we need on Web3, so that you don't end up abused or looted or just unable to get leverage against the incumbent Web 2 superpowers.
Great, thanks. Thanks for this insight. I'm going to tweet your. I'm going to cite here: the ancient regime of the old world is hostile to us. For sure, 100%.
They are.
Yeah, and just a note, but I was reading an article yesterday about the Chinese yuan and how for the balance account they could delete the balance as well, and obviously they do that by knowing the data that's going on the chain. So that's one of the dangers as well, I guess. Alex, would you like to share with us the long-term vision and mission at Aurora?
That's super simple. The way how we formulated it inside of the company is the following: we are building the infrastructure for super empowered people. That's what we are doing. All of these, protocols and blockchains. You can think of this as just an internet, right? This is the protocol, and the real products, big products that are capable of kind of uniting people together. They are built on top of it. It is not Aurora is a protocol that unites people. Currently, Aurora community is just a set of is many people who are using different applications that are working on top of Aurora, right? But besides that, it's not only the Aurora protocol, right? We need to make sure that the RPCs are there and they are reliable. Then the bridge is also, well, from one side, it is a product, but in general, it is just the infrastructure to give an ability for people to move their assets around and similar things, right? So we are building this infrastructure. We are willing to give an ability for people to be super empowered, which means that they have more power than they have right now. I think it's super slick, very short, and quite easy to understand.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, it was indeed pretty easy to understand. Very good. The next questions are more about how we attract marketing to the projects and the economics of the projects. So the first question I got was, what kind of marketing is being done to attract more people to know about either Brave or Aurora? Would you like to go ahead about this, Brendan?
Yes. One of the things that we found is that you can get good growth, as we've had, beyond just crypto users, and we still have some folks using MetaMask on Chrome, which we want to switch to Brave. We've also found that you get even users who are aware of the speed and battery and privacy benefits, but they tell their friends and family, and maybe they convert their school's lab to Brave, and then you reach the limits of that social network subgraph. And so I think we've discovered like 1 in 10 US internet users don't know about, only 1 in 10, I should say, US internet users know about Brave. 9 in 10 do not. So what we need to do to reach the rest is more like marketing. You can do App Store and search engine ads, but if people aren't looking for a new browser or a privacy browser or a crypto privacy browser, then they won't find you. And you can do things like billboards. Our friends at DuckDuckGo have been doing billboards for a while, and that gets you name recognition, gets some people who otherwise wouldn't know about you thinking, maybe I should try that and I should switch. So there's a challenge here in pure outbound marketing to prospective users you won't reach otherwise. And I think this is true of crypto projects too. I think a number of people don't know about Aurora or Near, and I've noticed that the outbound marketing has been improving, and Near has always had an awesome, I think, developer relations and ecosystem building approach. So more marketing will definitely help, and it has to go across various chasms between these disconnected, social subgraphs.
The thing that sold Brave to me is that several years ago I was on the call with somebody, and I already was in crypto, and then the guy was just showing his screen, and once he just opened the new tab in the browser, I saw there is some kind of insane amount of trackers and ads blocked, and some kind of bandwidth safe and time safe, and I said, well, that's cool. Is there some kind of a wallpaper to it or that counts it? And then he said, no, it's just the privacy focused browser. And I said, oh my God, I need to install that. And since then I'm using Brave. So, but I'm quite a nerd, so maybe it's not for everybody.
That was a good move. We did that early on, Brave Stats, and we've evolved them to put a bandwidth save estimator in. But that's really powerful. And we used to see Twitter contests where people would post their screen caps based on how long they've been using Brave, and some people would block millions of trackers. Some people even only using Brave a month or so had blocked a surprisingly and frighteningly large number. So yeah, that's a great message. We need to pump that one out. We're doing things like battery life-saving studies that we did in 2019. An independent group did around that time where we won on Android. The independent group, Green Spectre, did their own study, and Brave was just the best in terms of lowest power use. Because of the Brave shields, because we block so much JavaScript, my bad millennial child from 1995, that became important to ad tech. There's just a lot of signaling that goes on running JavaScript, which uses the battery through the CPU and especially through the radio, because it's doing a lot of signaling across what's called the programmatic waterfall of ad tech, calling back and forth to different ad servers and ad tech platform servers. And this ends up running the radio, which is the number 2 or sometimes number 1 consumer of the battery after the screen. So just these kind of messages like Brave stats and the battery savings, I think are important to growth. And, I think I would say for NEAR, they've done well with their carbon neutral messaging. They've gotten ahead on that one. So I think this message has broad appeal. It's a good way to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you here. Well, with regards to the Aurora marketing, we see absolutely the similar picture that Brandon was saying. Many people just don't know about it. And for example, I just continuously come into people and asking, hey, do you know about Aurora? Now, many are saying that yes, they do. And then when I'm asking, do you know about Aurora Plus and the free transactions, which is kind of a very big kind of an important piece of the Aurora ecosystem, I would say. And they say, no, what is this? So yeah, for sure, in terms of the presence, in terms of the having the mind share, it is super important to increase this. And yeah, and here we need to well kind of compete with some of the other projects and companies that are heavily focused on the marketing. That's the thing. The blockchain ecosystem is made by tech guys, and in general, everything is not very good with marketing for tech guys. And either you're super brilliant in tech and you're creating insanely highly scalable blockchain, but then you're focused on this. Or you're creating something, you put a label that it is scalable, and then you market it everywhere and just please all of the early holders of the token by the insane growth of the token price. So that's kind of, I never seen any project combining these two pieces together, making sure that marketing is also there where the tech is. So yeah, somehow we need to develop these competences and improve.
Thank you, Alex. Regarding what you said earlier about the Brave Shield, I've been using Brave when I was still working only in Web2 for advertising in e-commerce. And obviously I was using things like Google Ads, Facebook Ads, etc. all the day. And you can't even imagine how many the numbers that were popping on my shield while I was doing that. That was crazy. Obviously, that was a side note. Let's get to the next question. As I said previously, it will be about the economics. So on Twitter, Edios.eth was asking about how the project is generating revenues and what's your revenue model. Brendan, would you like to go ahead with that?
Sure. So Brave has premium products like a VPN. We're partnering with Guardian iOS app is the name of the Twitter handle. They're actually part of DNS Filter now, but the partnership continues. They're a very high quality VPN team on security, and they also block at the network level tracking in all apps when the VPN is running. That's on iOS and Android. We're bringing it to desktop too, but that's a premium product, and it's kind of an add-on. People like to get VPN with their browser. Sometimes Opera has one, or at least has some kind of offering built in. Mozilla finally has something, I think, partner with Molvad that's working. The real revenue for us is the private ad system I mentioned. So Basic Attention Token is a triangular ecosystem with advertisers, users, and creators. And the user comes first, so they get 70% of the revenue for the ads if they opt into rewards. There are both sponsored images, which we do 1 in every 4 new tab pages for all users. Those are trackerless sort of sponsorship takeovers of the new tab page. Some of them are very well done. It takes quite a bit of artistic collaboration and review to get this right, including with our team, but also the ad buyers, creative folks. Some of them are quite beautiful. And Gala Games in particular, I've tweeted out some of those screenshots. And the push notification ads that are like detached search engine ads, if you opt into Brave Rewards, you get them, you can turn them off or change the frequency up or down, but you get 70% of the revenue for those ads. We have a direct sales team. So we're actually trying to bootstrap this system, and we're starting to get others interested in doing the same. We'd like to make this fully Web3 in a larger world where there are multiple direct sales and automated ad exchanges, but without the data that is commonly gathered by surveillance that's tracking you and looting you and sometimes leading to malware or cyber attacks on you. This is a long-term mission. It's not going to happen overnight, but right now Brave's revenue does come from our private ad sales, sponsored images, as well as from premium products like VPN and search.
With regard to Aurora, there are kind of a dichotomy here in between the Aurora Labs as a company that develops Aurora protocol, or is the main developer of the Aurora protocol, and some additional products like Aurora Plus, and the protocol itself, right? So if we're talking about the protocol itself, then it is governed by the DAO, and the token that exists, Aurora token. Its main the main reason for it to exist is to actually improve the decentralization of the governance, making sure that any owner of the Aurora token is capable of participating in the governance mechanism, and this is done similar to the proof of stake approaches in other blockchains. But the staking is done not in order to run validators, but the staking is done inside of the native Aurora staking mechanism, right? So this is it. But what Aurora DAO has is that it has a large treasury of Aurora tokens, and the one thing what the Aurora DAO is doing is actually exchanging these tokens into something different, or kind of creating an additional leverage for others being able to get some revenues. So one of the things that is done right now, and obviously the majority of this revenue models are to be executed in the future, and many of them to be explored. So one of the things that is done right now is that there is a near blockchain validator that is owned by the Aurora DAO, and this validator is getting revenue out of the people staking through this validator. While it also distributes a small portion of the Aurora tokens. Literally, you can think of this as a continuous kind of sell of Aurora tokens to the market and exchanging it into the NEAR tokens, which kind of it's just only literal representation. So these are the ideas behind the protocol. Besides that, there are some ideas of additional utilities of the token beyond the governance, right? And these are kind of in the future and the upcoming products that are going to be released. Now, for Aurora Labs specifically, this is kind of a little bit separate. So we are a dev shop. We are mainly focusing on the development according to with the desires of the Aurora DAO. And that's why we are funded by the Aurora DAO. Aurora DAO allocates to us funding. And we are not putting for us a target to be a kind of extremely profitable company. We are like developers of the NEAR protocol, right? Pagoda. Like they obviously doing their own products, but it is not the primary goal. The primary goal is to build and make sure that the protocol is robust enough in order to then pivot to kind of creating products that are working on top of this. But Aurora Labs is already kind of making a small baby steps in the direction of generating of revenue, and these are all connected with Aurora Plus. So the upcoming features in the Aurora Plus are based around the subscriptions to the blockchain, where people are capable of getting free transactions like forever, or like some amount of free transactions. So these are kind of like mobile plans that you're buying from your mobile operators, but this is going to be available through Aurora Plus. And some additional features that are available in Aurora Plus, for example, like swaps that are now available for a couple of weeks in Aurora Plus. So there is a small fee that is taken from each of the swaps, and that it goes to Aurora Labs. So yeah, some small steps, but in general, there is no big goal to make Aurora Labs profitable right here, right now.
Thank you very much, Alex. So I propose to go into something a little bit softer, or you can make it a bit softer, because the next question was, what are you most excited about in the Web3 space? What do you believe isn't getting enough attention? Please amaze me. Go ahead, Brendan.
So I mentioned decentralized social. I think one driver for this will be games. It kind of is games already. People especially want game portability across devices. They want NFT or asset portability, I think, ultimately. I know some people in the industry who are building what you might think of as like super games that are basically portals. Think of Fortnite with portals to lots of legacy games. And legacy games are still played and enjoyed, and legacy could just mean last year. And the common platform, I think, has emerged, and it's basically because these games are all written in C++ generally, or they're using low-level hardware APIs like OpenGL and or Vulkan, or more advanced 3D rendering layers, and similar for audio. That the web has provided a parallel set of APIs based on those standards. Even with Web GPU, we're seeing something more like the Vulkan approach, if you know what that is. So I've been interested in this space since pioneering compile to JavaScript at Mozilla and something called ASM.js, which has evolved into WebAssembly. And you're seeing WebAssembly used, of course, in blockchain projects too. So, Near is Rust and WebAssembly, and now even the JavaScript through the QuickJS interpreter, Fabrice Bollard's interpreter running in consensus on the chain. But WebAssembly is like a low-level portable, bytecode or instruction set. And this is, I think, how many games can be stitched together, and legacy or popular or perennially popular games can be kept alive in the metaverse. So what is the metaverse? If it's anything, it has to involve, I think, shared 3D worlds, and that means Web3 matters because you want different identities depending on context. You may want privacy, or you may want to be less private or have a public real name or some kind of pseudonym with reputation. You want all your assets to be yours. They shouldn't be owned by the operator of the game environment or the game world. They should be as much as possible portable, because there are standards for all these assets that are emerging or that have already prevailed. And they should be secured through blockchain so that you actually do own them without requiring a trusted third party. So, I think Web3 really will mean a shared game world metaverse. Not quite Ready Player One, but you can sort of see how it's heading that direction. And that's, I think, inevitable. And if it's done right with privacy and user first design principles, I think it'll be awesome.
So I have quite a biased opinion on this, and it's going to get a little bit political here. I'm Ukrainian, and Ilya is Ukrainian, also the founder of Near protocol. So obviously, the previous half of the year was extremely hard for us, because we have lots of friends based in Ukraine. But from my point of view, the reason why this actually happened, and the reason why the blockchain vertical resonates a lot with the Eastern Europeans is because of the insane manipulation of the government with what actually people want. So I'm talking about the massive speculations on the elections and stuff like that, right? So Eastern Europeans are not trusting their government. This is kind of a default behavior, and they unfortunately are in a position when the majority of them are saying that, well, we cannot change anything. And for the Western democracies, this is something that is well, probably not the case, right? In case you're going to the elections and you're voting, you kind of more or less sure that your vote is going to be counted the right way. So the first application back in 2015 when I was joining blockchain, the first thing that I was thinking of, and still this thing amazes me, and the technology is already done for it. The algorithms are written. It's just about the implementation, and it is the absolutely better voting system that preserves user privacy, that makes any bribery of the user votes impossible, just because one single person can vote multiple times and only the latest vote is going to count. And moreover, the person would be able to prove, or like kind of prove to others that they have been voting according to their will, right? And because of this, there is no point in bribery, because a person can prove that he voted anything. Yeah, so this is kind of a mix of the blockchain and zero knowledge approaches. Again, as I said, the algorithms are written, everything is done. The only thing that is required is the political will. And every time when I have been speaking with high officials, when the doors were open, they were saying, "Yeah, obviously that's a great idea. Finally, we're going to fight corruption." And when the doors closed and all of the media is gone out, they were saying that, "Hey, but there might be some problems with your technology, and we actually need to have a way to kind of fix all of these inappropriate mistaken votes that were used. So you need to have a backdoor there." And when I was explaining to them that you cannot do a backdoor in the blockchain in case this is a good blockchain, so then they were saying, "Yeah, okay, we are going to call you back." So this is the voting, purely democratic, better voting system than the thing that exists right now in the non-digital world. I feel extremely excited about this, and I would love, I hope that during my lifetime this thing is going to happen, and we are going to be we are going to see these evidences of the pure democracy conquering over some of the countries in the world.
Very inspiring last sentences, Alex. Very inspiring. Yeah, that's something I dream about too, to be honest. I would like to ask you guys one last questions before I will ask you one, any remarks you would like to say. So my last questions will be, if you had a piece of advice for young developers about getting started into Web3, what would it be?
Yes, I think you have to build. When you're a young programmer, you should be writing lots of code. It's like practicing a musical instrument. You just need to keep writing and rewriting. When I was young, I would do my own, C compiler or version of Unix. These were often toys or not quite completed, but I learned and iterated, and I, benefited from doing that. I think this now has to be done in blockchain projects and at the sort of frontier of the projects. So things like zero knowledge proof systems and decentralized social. And in these worlds, I think it matters which chain you work on. So you want to work on a chain with the right, attention to developer ergonomics and documentation that's reliable. You want to have easy to use tooling. We were doing basic attention token back in the relatively early days of Ethereum. Geth and parity were both kind of broken in different ways. It was a real hardship. It's gotten a lot better. And again, my hat's off to Near on their DevRel and ecosystem work. So, pick your chain, or you can do several chains, learn different chains. It's good, but don't lose your life on paper cuts or impossible to use tools and get on with building things and rebuilding. Even if you copy something, to do your own version to learn, I think it's good.
I'm following. I'm second in what Brandon was saying. Probably the only thing that I wanted to add to this list is that it just only it seems like be brave. So it just only seems from the Web2 developer standpoint that Web3 is complicated, but in fact it is not. Everybody in Web2 world, all the developers are working with the async await constructs, right? And that's normal that things are happening asynchronously in Web2 world. That's just the way how internet works. And guess what? Well, in EVM compatible chains, everything is synchronous. Like it is even simpler than in Web2 space, right? So there are lots of things that that developers who are coming to or like thinking of coming to Web3, they are afraid of all of the smart contracts, all of these complexities. But in fact, the many things are actually not that complicated, and for sure you would be able to tackle it.
Thank you very much. I would like, do you have any one last words or any question that you would like to ask or whatever? Any remark, Brandon?
I would just encourage people to see the unity of privacy and Web3 or crypto, because if you think about what I said earlier about fingerprinting yourself on a blockchain, a distributed public ledger, there is an issue here that could be just as bad or worse than what we have with Web2 and Google and Facebook and big tech. You don't want to put all your life log, all your events all over public blockchains, because even if you use HD wallets or multiple wallets, people will figure out how to link you. So there is a unity to, I think, privacy and other security properties and cryptocurrency and the other cryptography, my first love. So I think people should think about this unity and come together to work on it. It's hard to work on now. Regulators may be against it in some ways, as Tornado Cash showed, but I think it's critically important.
Yeah, I would like to leave this room with two statements. One face the users and another the developers. And the users, I want to say that it's super important what Brandon was saying. Just want to second this and say that yes, at the moment, blockchain and privacy is very complicated, unfortunately. But once you are going to get yourself educated and you are going to get better in all of these concepts and understand more, you would start to value more your privacy. You will start value more your rights, and this is extremely important for you to have to make conscious decisions and well educated decisions. And for the developers, like the more people are going to come to us to the Web3 space and the crypto space and more private space, the more this kind of flywheel is going to work. Then the more developers are going to come, and then they will bring more people and so on, right? So please make sure that you're not just copy pasting Uniswap and deploying it to another network and trying to get some millions out of it. Please focus on things that are going to bring more users. Please make sure that your Web3 applications have great user experience. They are capable of, then the people who are going to use them, they're capable of saying, yeah, this is something great. This is a great experience in my life. So from that standpoint, don't be afraid. We're building all together a very bright future for the human race, hopefully. Please be brave and build with us.
Thank you very much. I think I will hand the space here, and thank you all for joining us. I saw a peak at 90 people, so that's pretty cool. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Don't forget to follow Brave and Aurora on Twitter, and obviously stay in touch with the project for the long run. As you heard, both CEOs got plans and they are going somewhere. Thank you everyone. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.